Well, first I want to say thanks to the fans and the brigade. Thought those guys were awesome tonight. The weather wasn't ideal, but people showed up and they showed up and they were loud. So we're really appreciative of that. Hats off to Rice. A ton of respect for Scott Abel. I think he's a really good coach. Has success everywhere he's been, and he'll have success at Rice. There's no doubt about that. But good ball coach, well coached ball club. Thought they played hard tonight. Thought they kept fighting. To their credit, great to get a win. Great to be 4-0. I said to him after the locker room, there's some wins where you feel, I don't know if this is good or bad, but you just feel relief afterwards. And some wins you feel an elation, right? And it was more of a relief for me. It's not just about winning, it's how we win. And are we playing to our standard? Are we a disciplined football team? Or do we have 11 guys on the field doing their job at the same time? Those kind of things. And I didn't think we did that as well as I would like to tonight. So we can be so much better. So it's great to get a win. And I'm proud of our players. These guys know how to win. They expect to win. And that's kind of the difference now than it was a couple of years ago. So I thought we did some really good things defensively. Really proud, especially in the first half. I think they had maybe 50 yards of offense at halftime. I thought we had them pretty dialed in. And they were able to move the ball a little bit in the second half. But I think anytime you hold an option team under, I don't know what do they have, Strauss, 140 rushing, something like that. That's usually going to be a pretty good day for you. On the flip side of that, offensively, had 450 yards of offense and just 21 points to show for it. So thought we shot ourselves in the foot a bunch. I think we had 10 penalties tonight, and 7 of those were offensive penalties, 3 holding calls, 4 false starts. Can't happen. We were able to overcome a couple of those on some drives, but it's just that's not good enough, and that's not who we are. So we got to get that fixed and figured out. Because if we don't get in our own way, we're pretty good. But some good things. There'll be some good things on tape, and there'll be some things that are head scratching, some things we got to get better at for sure. I thought we were okay blocking on the perimeter. Felt like that was something we had to be really good at today. At times we did it well, at times we didn't. I thought we were just okay up front today. And to their credit, they're pretty good. And we felt like going to this game that they had a good defense, and they were. They were a good football team, and they had a good plan. So, but glad to get a win.
Questions?
You had mentioned about this game was circled on the calendar, and in regards to playing better than last year, the numbers say you did. You defended them much better, and you obviously they held you to 260 yards last year, whereas today you're up in the 460-some range. So on that front, are you pleased that you played a lot better against this particular team than you did a year ago?
Yeah, I don't. It's circled on the calendar, but I don't compare how we played last year to how we played this year necessarily. That was a year ago, and so I want to play to our standard, right? And I don't think we fully did that today, and we got to win in spite of that. I thought we played really hard. I know that, but we got to be more detailed in the things that we're doing. We have to be more disciplined. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot here. We got to take advantage of every opportunity that we have. We sputtered on some drives down in the red zone or close to the red zone, threw an interception. The penalties just killed us, and so. We did some good things, Wags. I'm not denying that, and I'm pleased with that. But it's coaching. You're always looking for ways to get better, and I appreciate that about our players as well. They do the same thing. So, like I always say, there's a lot of meat left on the bone, right? And we got to go attack this week, and everybody knows who's coming into town a week from today. So we're excited about that. Looking forward to the preparation starting Monday.
I predicted you would say that.
Did you?
Meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you mentioned the defense. What was going right, particularly in the first half with that unit?
Yeah, I thought we played hard. I thought we did our jobs. I thought we owned our space. I thought we were first to strike. We talked about dominating blocks, dominating our job, and I thought we played sound football for the most part. Had our eyes in the right places, and against an offense like that, you got to play disciplined style of football. We wanted to create negative plays too. I think we did that some as well. Our goal was to be efficient on 1st and 10, to hold them 3 yards or less. I don't know what that number is, but I thought we were pretty good on first down. When you can be good on first down against a team like that, right, get them behind the sticks, it helps things. Right, I thought we did that a decent amount.
Last season against Rice, you weren't able to throw the ball to loosen them up. I think Blake was 10 of 21 passing.
Yeah.
Today, much more efficient in the passing game, 8 of 12, and a lot of deep balls. I think 4 passes of 26 yards or more.
Yeah.
How important was that element?
Well, explosive plays are huge for us, especially if people are going to defend the run well and they're going to get people up in the box and they're playing aggressive. We've got to be able to take advantage of that. And I thought we did today. I think we were 8 out of 13. Blake could probably tell you we should have been 12 out of 13. There are a couple of throws that were a little high, just a little slightly off target, which will happen. But I thought Blake played really well. I thought he made good decisions for the most part. I know he'd like to get the one pick back. But outside of that, I thought it was a solid game.
You gained 245 yards on first down plays.
Yeah, that's huge.
Average 9.1 yards per play on first down.
Any thought to maybe the open week being a little rusty coming off that and leading to some of those penalties at all?
No, I don't think so. I thought we had 2 really good weeks of preparation. I did. I think 6 weeks exams. That's always a tough week for us. But I thought our kids handled it well. We have 6 weeks exams and we try to take care of them as much as we can. But we have things we got to get done, right? But that's always a concern during the school year because that's a tough week on our guys. And so having the bye week before that, a lot of those guys kind of get ahead a little bit academically. At least that's what we try to tell them to do. So no, I don't think so.
Brian, 12 tackles today for MarcAnthony Parker. What sort of X factor does he give you guys?
He's a really good player. He's a really good player. We knew that in the spring ball. He was one of those guys I talked about. He's just a sophomore, right? But we knew he was going to be a really good player as a freshman. Really, really smart, really instinctual, physical football player. He's got a chance to be a great one here. I really believe that.
And how important that first possession for you guys? Over 7 minutes, you go down, you score. How important was it for you guys to be able to set the tone with that first possession?
That's huge. 3 and outs are like turnovers in games like this. I think the first 2 possessions were both 3 and outs for them. So it was a great way to start. Wish we could have taken advantage of the first 3 and out, and we weren't able to. I think that was one of the drives. The second drive offensively, we had a holding call, got us behind the sticks, or maybe it was offsides, and we couldn't overcome it. But I really, again, just really pleased with how we played on defense. And it wasn't a perfect game by any stretch. There's things we're going to see on film, but we need to do better, obviously. But to hold that team to 140 yards rushing and 10 points or 13 points is pretty good.
To be off to a 4-0 start and to be 3-0 in the conference, can you talk about that? I mean, you want to start seasons strong, and that you have done that again for the second straight season.
Yeah. No, I'm proud of our players. I'm happy about where we're at. Would I like to be further along at this point? Maybe, but we got a lot of new players, and we got to start. We talked about Friday night of everything starting to click. Right, it's got to be like a symphony, and it's not there yet, right? And so we're still a work in progress, and our ceiling's really, really high, and I don't think we're anywhere close to it yet. And we just have to keep getting better. And the way that our guys work, they will. Right? This is a consistent group. We say all the time that's a superpower, and it's got to be for us. And they'll show up on Monday ready to go to work, and that's who they are. And because they do that, we'll continue to get better as the season goes.
It's the first time Navy started 4-0 in back-to-back years since 1978-79.
Can you talk about Air Force Academy coming in here next week?
Yeah, excited for the opportunity. Excited. Obviously, it's the first leg of the CIC. It's the #1 goal in our program. I've watched them already. I think they're much improved offensively, so it's going to be a challenge for us. But no, our kids will be fired up this week, and CIC games are awesome. The week of preparation is awesome. Love that we're playing them here at home, so we're just excited about the opportunity.
Anything else for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Blake, how much did redemption factor into your preparation for this week in this game?
I'll be honest. Well, first off, we want to shout out Clifford, the elevator worker, because it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Clifford. He might be downstairs, but happy birthday, Clifford. So he told us thank you for getting a win on his birthday. So give him a shout out. But yeah, it was on our minds. I think, a lot of it's that game last year has been referenced many times. Whether it was the delay versus UAB, things not going well versus Tulsa, right? We always sort of went back to that game where sort of a lot of things didn't go well. And so it was definitely on our minds this week in the preparation, right? I think that focused a lot of guys, right? Didn't make people upset, but it focused a lot of the preparation we did.
Two-part question. Obviously, the offense rolling. I think the note was that Navy has surpassed 450 yards in 4 straight games for the first time since 2015. But on the downside, the not finishing when you got into Rice territory. Can you talk about, A, the offense doing a great job of putting up yardage, but not being able to put up the points you probably should have today?
Yeah, and, it goes, you look at all those drives, there wasn't many times where we were on our own side of the 50 when a lot of those drives stalled out. And so, some of them are mistakes by me on third downs and stuff. Some of them are penalties like Coach referenced. And I think overall it was just one or two things, right at the end of the drive. I think we started out drives really well. Like Scott said, the amount of yards we had on first down, outstanding. But it was those second and third downs, and a penalty on those downs, puts you back and sets you off track. And so I think it was just, one little thing each drive, and you can't have it. And so you just got to get better.
Blake, a season high in passing yards for you today, a really efficient day. Just what was working so well for you guys in the passing game today?
The receivers, they were working really well. They did a great job just getting open. It's really easy to throw a ball when they're absolutely wide open, like Luke and Alex, and a lot of those are yards after the catch. So not much I'm doing, just making sure I'm getting them the ball where they can make plays, and they're great athletes. So that's what they went and did. So perfect.
And starting the game the way you guys did today with a 14-play, 75-yard drive, just how much did you feel like that really set the tone for the offense for the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think it really set the tone, just for the whole game. It was going to be a tough game. Wasn't going to be the ones where, short drives, maybe some deep plays, right? You had to sort of grind out the offense. And then it got capped off by Luke Hutchison, first rushing touchdown. So if you didn't know, he should have thrown the ball to the quarterback. I'm joking. I told him, I said, you're the fastest guy in the team. If you can outrun him, I said, just run it in. So it was sort of honestly like reverse of the Tulsa game, where I was like sort of scooting with him, and if the guy had absolutely cut him off, he was going to throw it.
It was a distraction.
So exactly.
Alex, can you talk 2 big plays, the 63, whatever it was, 65-yard run that set up a touchdown, and then also a long pass play. Can you talk about being involved with 2 of those explosive plays that Coach Cronick always wants?
Yeah, I definitely wanted the touchdown on the first run, obviously. I feel like that's the second time this year I've gotten tripped up on a breakaway run, but I just, I remember, it's all a blur, obviously, when you're running a play, but I just remember, our receivers and tight ends, blocking downfield for me. I think that's something we preach, right? And that's kind of what Navy football is about, right? The play's never over until the whistle blows. So I just, props to those guys, and the line played great all day, obviously, but props to those guys for, blocking downfield and giving effort. And yeah, the pass play was right before half, just kind of 2-minute drill, got the ball back. And it's kind of hard when you catch the ball to look up at the scoreboard, but I was actually running towards our scoreboard and kind of looked up and peeked to see how much time we had left and ran out of bounds. So it's kind of a high IQ play by me, I guess I could say. But Blake kind of made a good read. I'm the last read on that for Blake. So good for him to see me and hit me out outside on the field. So.
Luke and I would like to point out that there is a scoreboard on both sides of the field. So
it's not always easy. This one's I'd argue this one's easier to see.
Luke, can you describe the touchdown from your perspective and kind of what you saw in the execution of that play?
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. I'm a converted quarterback, so we always have something up our sleeves for the trick game, and that's something we practice every Friday, and sometimes I decided to throw it to Blake, and other times I decided to run it. I'll tell you what, I wanted to throw Blake right there. I did. I truly thought about it, but I was like, you know what, Coach is going to grill me if we don't score right here, so I just decided to run it in.
I think that's the same as the Philly special, is that right? What is it called here?
Don't drop the ball, Blake.
Don't drop the ball, Blake. Score. That's what it's called.
Luke or Blake score. That's what it's called.
Blake, in the second half, after they get that field goal, that you guys drove the field and got that last touchdown, how huge was that possession for you guys, the way they had been playing in the second half?
It was good. Yeah, it was very important. I think a lot of times it's said in football, right, the hardest time to score is in response to what another team just did. And so to be able to sort of, hit Luke on a deep ball on a corner route was really big to sort of get that drive going. And then just, making plays everybody all over the field. And just, whenever you respond like that, it really just, I think, defeats the other team, right? right? Because they were thinking they're gaining momentum, get a stop, get the ball back again, try and score again, and just being able to respond and sort of, put that fire out before it got going was important.
And for Alex and Luke, the big plays that you guys have been getting, whether they've been 2 yard, the fourth down touchdown run or the 65-yard carry, are those big plays like contagious, with you guys as an offense, where one guy makes it and then all of a sudden, boom, things start to snowball for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I think it's a very contagious, kind of a motivation builder. Right. I think for me, those 15-play drives are fun but tiring. So when you kind of gash a play down the field and you're set up in the red zone, that's definitely exciting. But yeah, it's huge and it's part of our offense. And we have playmakers all over the field, so it's hard to defend them all in a single game. So yeah, it's a good feeling when someone breaks free and or we hit a pass downfield. So.
Yeah, I'll say something on that too. This place is truly special. It doesn't matter who scores, it doesn't matter who gets the big play, but we all celebrate like we got it. And that's something we do even in practice, so it's no surprise to us in games when someone makes a big play and everyone's excited because that's just who we are. So, it's awesome to be a part of a program like that.
Blake, can you talk about senior year Air Force here in Annapolis? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, playing that game here in Annapolis as a senior. You got after them pretty good last year. How excited are you all for that?
Yeah, it's the first leg of the CIC, sort of set the tone for that, and so that's our first goal always, right? Win the CIC, win those 2 games, and so for it to be my senior year, for it to be here is really great. Hopefully to see a lot of Midshipmen fans out there for the game next week. So,
do you think Coach Cronick and Coach Jasper are going to be upset about you actually taking on a defender along the sideline instead of just getting out of bounds?
No, they're probably just gonna laugh at me. I don't know why. It's just because.
Anything else for the offense? All right, thanks, guys. Great job.
Shout out Clifford. Happy birthday, Clifford. Let's go.
Well, MarcAnthony, you guys were really dialed in on their option, and early on in particular, you were stuffing the run. I didn't count the total 3 and outs, but I think it was up around 4 or thereabouts. You really did a great job defending them. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, without him, I don't think any of this will happen. But, yeah, I mean, D-line did great. Luke did great. The safeties were triggering really well. So, I mean, it made us backers, our job really easy. When you have the D-line taking on the double teams, we could blitz our fit, and we could be free to make those tackles. So, yeah.
Luke, just defending the pass, you allowed just 114 yards. You were getting after the quarterback. Just what was working for you in that department?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we came into it with an aggressive game plan. We were getting after the quarterback, and that helps the back end a lot. And Seth and the DBs are doing a great job of just making good reads. And I felt like we started to put things together this game, and you can see what happens when things start to click. Like our defense really shut them down. They didn't really get too many yards until the second half. So.
Well, Seth, I mean, why don't you weigh in as far as what was going well for the defense? I mean, they were really struggling with, and that's a explosive offense. We saw against Charlotte what they're capable of and a lot of playmakers, but you really bottled them up across the board.
Yes, sir. I think it starts with eye discipline. The whole back end had great eyes today. And then they started the second half with the 8-minute and 15-second drive and got a field goal out of it. So I think it's just setting the tone. We set it the first half, we set it the second half, and then we just had to finish the game off in the fourth quarter.
Question for any of the 3 of you. 21 points allowed, I think, against UAB in the first half, 17 against Tulsa in the first half. Today in the first half, you guys pitch a shutout. Was there a certain, emphasis, a commitment to, coming out from the jump and tossing those 3 and outs at them?
Yeah, I feel like we placed an emphasis on just practicing hard this week more than past weeks. I mean, I'm sure they can vouch for me. Like this practice past 2 weeks with the bye, we were tackling, we were making sure that we got all our fundamentals together, and it showed in the first half being able to come out. And although you're coming off a bye, just coming off hot, and that was great to see.
MarcAnthony, you're 12 tackles for you today. At what point this afternoon / evening did you realize that this was going to be one of those days where you're going to be around the ball a lot?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they run the ball a lot, so I figured that I was going to be around the ball a lot. But just, dominating our job, like Coach Volker says, dominating our job and just letting the plays come to us. I mean, that's the main thing. I think the main thing for us was we didn't get bored of dominating our job. So I think a lot of teams, what happens is people will get bored of doing their job, and then they'll start doing somebody else's job, and then that's when runs start going for long runs and passes, and you see the explosive plays. So, yeah, that's the main thing.
Luke, can you talk about the physicality of the defense today? I thought there were times when you guys made hits that were thunderous. You really laid out some guys. I mean, it seemed like you guys were particularly physical.
Yeah, definitely. Our front seven, the way we practice, it's like it translates very well to the game, and that's a good offense. Like they've put up points the past few weeks, and just being knowing that they're going to come out and they're going to do everything in their will to dominate the line of scrimmage. We kind of took that personally. And, when you get hits on the quarterback, you always want to make them feel it. And, quarterbacks, once they get hit, they change how they play. And so that was just a main point for us was to, if you're going to hit him, you might as well hit him hard. So.
Anything else for the defense? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you all.